Hello everyone, welcome to Cyberscoop TV. Greg Otto, your managing editor here. We're coming to you from the 2017 Black Hat Conference. And I'm talking with Justin Fier, the Director of Threat Intel and Analysis for Darktrace. Justin, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So we've recently seen that a nation state has attacked about 15 to 18 energy companies within the US. And this speaks to a greater trend of how hackers and nation states are starting to target ICS and SCADA systems. I know Darktrace has seen some interesting movement in this area, and I would love to hear about it.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So Darktrace actually started in the ICS environment before we moved into the corporate world. And the first thing that I noticed when I started working with ICS customers is just the lack of visibility, not knowing what's on the production floor, not knowing what devices are doing what and when they're talking to different things. So that's kind of the first step, but the ability for Darktrace to map out the entire network for them and let them visually see it, I think is what we're seeing the most value from a lot of our customers.
Great, okay. And a lot of the ICS and SCADA companies, they have to adapt to these threats now. What suggestions do you have in order for these companies to move fast and adapt to the way that they are being attacked?
Sure. So I think one of the things we're seeing is SCADA environments are still very old school.
Right.
The mentality, the hardware, and I think they need to start adapting the new school of thought for cybersecurity and introducing that to the ICS environment. We've actually just recently announced a partnership with Siemens Technologies to help build in some of that security and early detection technology into their actual products.
So if they have these legacy systems almost that are 25, 30 years old, what can they do on a technical level to really move into a new era of protection?
I think looking at the new technology, making sure things are up to date, obviously, and I mentioned earlier just that visibility, knowing what's going on. I hear all the time that SCADA environments are air gapped, and then we plug in the device and find out that there's a clear connection out to the internet. So, it's oftentimes those much easier problems to fix than the more interesting nation state APT problems. So I think start with the low hanging fruit. Tighten up the security posture, and then it should be easy moving forward.
So ICS and SCADA is just one spoke of the wheel when it comes to the Internet of Things. When it comes to organizations that deal with IoT on their network, how can they wrap their hands around what is connecting to their networks?
Sure, and so not to sound like a broken record, but it keeps coming back to visibility. The first thing I ask a client when we plug in our device is how many devices to expect on the network. And that number is always 20 to 25% more. And that's because we've adopted so much IoT into our lifestyles, both in our corporate lives and our residential lives, that security teams are playing catch up and didn't realize that they now have to secure these. I'd say the more interesting events that we find on our customs are the IoT, the vending machines that get compromised, the door systems that get compromised. But at the end of the day, if it's got an IP address on your network, you need to treat it with the same level of severity as any of the desktop servers that you were looking at in the prior.
Right. So, speaking to the actual devices that connect to the network, we saw with Mirai that it was security cameras that got co-opted into the command and control network there. What can organizations do to protect themselves when it comes to the actual devices? Is it something where they need to go to their manufacturers and be like, look, we need access in order to change some software here, or is it something else?
I think it's a combination of things. First and foremost, patching and updating. A lot of these devices, you can't even run endpoint software on them. In some cases, you can't even apply updates to. So I think good patch management, knowing what is even out there, good policies in place for what employees can bring into the building, and then again, that visibility aspect I think is absolutely key. If you don't know what's on your network, then you're already at a disadvantage.
Great. Justin, appreciate your insight. Thanks for joining us today.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
For all of our videos, check out our YouTube channel. And for more on Black Hat and all things cybersecurity, check out cyberscoop.com. I'm Greg Otto. Thanks for watching.